These are major things that can create big change. And there are a lot of things we focus on initially. We just have to set an intention. We have to put it in our calendar, and we have to find a way to make it happen consistently. Welcome to the Fitness Forever podcast, where I share with you the exact habits, actions, and strategies I've used over the last 15 years running 27,000 training sessions to build an exact framework to help people feel better than they ever have without hurting or hating the process. You'll hear exact case studies from myself and some of the best coaching minds in this industry. Thank you for listening. I hope you put into action what you hear today and subscribe. I think the fitness industry does a pretty big disservice to the majority of people that are actually trying to get healthier, to get fitter, to feel stronger. You actually have a whole lot of people out there that are willing to do all the work. They are willing to work very hard to make change, and they're just constantly getting misled and misinformed about what is the actual best path, or they're basically just getting told they have to do a ridiculous amount to see things happen. And they have to create this life that is filled with restriction and filled with frustration and filled with so much work that it's no wonder that most people choose just not have working out as part of their life. I think a few things that people are misled into believing when it comes to how do I get better fitness. I think people are obsessed with majoring in the minor. I think people believe that the only way to true progress is through ruthless restriction and endless effort in the gym. And then finally, I think people are led to believe that training strategies that they see online are the best way for them to go about and see change. And so when you lead to burnout and not making things happen. And I'll break those down today in today's podcast. The first thing I want to talk about is majoring in the minor. I think very often people are led to believe that they need the best supplements. They need to time their eating in a very specific way. They have to do very specific movements in order to see change, that there's specific training strategies that are going to create what they want. They're focusing on very minor, very specific things instead of crushing general. General to me is, are you active or are you not on a day? What's your step count look like? Can you control your overall hunger levels through a day and just learn to, eat some consistent meals and not snack? Or are you constantly wondering what macro amount is the best amount for you to go with when you're drinking alcohol throughout every single weekend? You're majoring in minor things that don't move the needle large amounts right now. You need big dominoes, right? You need dominoes that will knock the next one over and knock the next one over and keep going and going. And so for me, what are the major? What are the things that we can actually put a large focus on? So for me, if we had to go one from every category, daily activity, number one would be, can you just aim for about 5 to 10% more steps each week than you did the previous week until you're at least 8,000 steps? If you did it like that, you could do that in about 14 to 16 weeks, depending on if you're starting from, 1 to 2,000. If you're starting that low, 14 weeks of adding that percentage, you're going to be into that 8 to 10,000 range. And just doing that will move you forward on your mental health, to how your body feels on a day, to even weight loss, just because you're moving more on the day. Now, a lot of you will say that this is very difficult, and it is if you have a desk job and you're getting 1,000 steps a day. But there are 8 hours of work in a day for some of y'all, sometimes more. But we can set reminders to stand. We can set planned 5-minute walks. We could get a standing desk, a walking treadmill desk. We could go for an hour walk after we get off work. There's all kinds of ways we can build it in. We just aren't necessarily willing to make a conscious effort to do that. And it takes a lot of time scheduling it in. Real quick, friends, this podcast is definitely just getting off the ground, and we would love to help more people just like you find their way in fitness and level up in the process. If you could just help me out for just 1 second and share this podcast with a friend, it would be much appreciated. Now, back to the framework. In the second category, if we looked at strength training, a major would be, can you just get competence of the main movements and get to where you're working out 2 or 3 days a week? You don't even need to worry about what all the sets and reps are. You don't need to worry about what cardio is best. what training split is best. Just do a total body workout 3 days per week, and you have hit a major change in your life. If we move on to eating behaviors and nutrition, we don't need to sit there and wonder what fat loss supplement is best. Should we be taking in more vitamin D, et cetera, et cetera? Instead, we could sit there and say, you know what? Could I get 3 meals a day? Could I cut my alcohol and other calorie-containing beverages? Maybe could I eat out less? These are major things that can create big change. And there are a lot of things we focus on initially. We just have to set an intention. We have to put it in our calendar, and we have to find a way to make it happen consistently. Fourth one here would be looking at lifestyle. Sleep is a very major part of how every other category operates. So if instead of worrying about what is the best supplement for me to take before bed to ensure that I recover from workouts on hand, or how can I biohack my way into more meditation and a perfect morning routine, when a lot of times it's, could I go to bed 30 minutes earlier? Could I cut the TV off? Could I just get my sleep quality up so that everything else improves? And so when we look at these in a big picture, we start realizing that if you just did one of these things from each category over the next 12 weeks, you would be exponentially farther along than you have been in the last couple years trying to constantly track your macros, quit, track your protein, quit, do 6 workouts, quit. It's what I see over and over. And so if we can make that effort to focus on the major, we quit having minor changes. Thank you so much for listening to this short one today. I hope you found it useful. If you did, if you could do me a wonderful favor and just text this podcast over to a friend, talk about it with them, and take action on at least one thing today. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.